Hello once again, South Florida, and welcome to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler. He is one of the co-founders of the LS Financial Group. I am your host, Spike Spangle, of course, here with Len Strickler. But I think we also have mentioned we have somebody else here on set with us, Mr. Eric Brown. Who is Eric here, Len?
Well, Spike, hey, good to see you again,
my friend.
You, buddy. Yeah, we're excited to have Eric. He's a new member of our team here. He's going to be handling the managed money part of our business now, and we're just excited to have him. He's got a lot of experience in this part of the business, and we're excited to expand LS Financial now to LSF Capital. And so we're going to be able to give a whole lot more service to our clients, and we're just excited to have Eric here with us.
Fantastic. Eric, so as a financial advisor yourself, we're talking about the assets and the money management. But you know the name of our show here is Let's Talk Safe Money. So are you cool with that? Do you like to put together income streams that are safer in retirement?
Of course, and that's really why I decided to join LS Financial Group. I believe in an investment philosophy that really takes into account the entire plan, gets a nice diversification between protection and also money that's managed.
All right. Well, we're going to actually prove that today, because a program that you've helped us put together is we're going to talk about putting together an income plan in retirement, how exactly we do that, how we do that not only at the LS Financial Group, but the LSF Capital Group as well. So let's dive into this a little bit. Creating the actual income plan. Of course, it has to start with the assets somewhere, right? But do you also talk about lifestyle in that first meeting? Eric, for you, somebody comes in for the first time, they call from the TV show, say, hey, I saw this kid on the TV show. And they come and sit in your office. Does it start with the accounts first, or where do you start with the income plan?
It really starts with the individual. Getting to know them, speaking about their lifestyle, what their goals are, and what their overall financial situation looks like. You want to talk about that before even talking about the investment accounts.
Right, right. So in the past, Len, when we would talk about putting together an income stream, what was really the sources of retirement? There's a thinking that we used to have the three legs of a stool, right?
Right, correct.
Social Security, pension, and a little bit of our savings, right? That was kind of how the income plan was put together. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's interesting, you know, pensions, you mentioned the word pensions. You know, that is kind of where all of this kind of started to change back in 1978. When pensions actually, they came out with a 401k, and they decided to, you know, put this back on this financial journey back on us as individuals. And unfortunately, it really didn't work out all as well as they had hoped, right? So, yeah, I mean, pensions today, if you look at it, I mean, we get clients coming in all the time, Spike, that you say, hey, we just got a letter that says, you know, a third of our pension is gone, or it's gone completely. And so, you know, now what we've got to do, okay, and of course with the help with Eric and what he does and the other part of planning we've done in the past, right, is to now really help folks get their own pension. We got to start building their own pension and their own income streams. Right.
Eric, you know, obviously Len has been doing this for a long time. You've been in the industry for a long time, but from your seat, when people come in for the very first time, how many people actually still have pension plans that you see?
Yeah, really, it's becoming more rare and rare. As time's gone on, we've gone away from, like Len was saying, we've gone away from that pension-like retirement, mainly due to employees that aren't staying at the same company. So me and Len meet with our government employees, our teachers that may still have this, but if you look at the majority of the workforce, a lot of that has changed.
Yeah, and now there's the pressure on the pension plans. I won't say the company name. Len, you and I have talked about it on the radio show. One of the largest trucking companies in the world, right? They have now asked for federal relief on their pension plan. I think there was $700 million or something in that pension plan. And part of the problem with the pensions today is almost the same as Social Security. It's not so much of just running out of money in the pension. It's that normally you would replace it with other workers who would be paying into the pension plan. And in the trucking industry, that whole world is changing. Because you have online sources where you can order stuff, and so they have their own delivery.
Amazon, right? You
you just boy, I don't want you making Jeff Bezos mad, but yes, there are other companies right now that they have their own shipping sources. So, pension plans. We're not trying to scare people, but if your industry is changing, I mean, look at the auto industry and the pressure that have been on those pension plans. even if you do have a pension plan, you might want to sit down with a financial advisor, right? Now, there's not a lot that you can do, but let's talk about it from the lump sum. Let's say that somebody is getting pressure from their former company. Look, would you like to take a lump sum and take care of your retirement on your own? What would you say to somebody who got that phone call?
Yeah, it's really looking at their whole situation and analyzing how much they need the money, what their expenses are going to be like once they retire. Usually the lump sum can be more beneficial in terms of creating longevity from assets and using different types of investment vehicles to create their own pension, right? That's really key with us, is creating that diversified income stream that's catered to the individual.
Len, we talk about that all the time. Look, if you went to a whole bunch of people on the street and said, we want to create a pension plan from your savings. You can never run out of it. There's a floor on it that no matter what the markets are doing, you never go below zero.
Right.
There would be a line around the block, right?
Yeah, there should be.
But what exactly is that? What exactly is that product, though? When you say that,
well, you know, Spike, I'm going to say the word, and you're going to get upset with me.
You're going to do it, aren't you?
Annuities. Right.
Okay.
Now, folks, I tell folks this all the time. Folks, annuities aren't bad, but there are some bad annuities, and there are some bad designs of annuities, right? And I'm not going to say there's bad advisors out there, but a lot of times they put people in the wrong design. For example, Art and I and Eric here, we won't do variable annuities because it puts you right back in the market. And we don't want you in the market unless you're doing it with Eric under the right guys and the right management. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely right. I mean, that's exactly what we've been talking about.
So even if you do have a pension plan, we think it's a good idea to sit down with a financial advisor. What about now for the vast majority of Americans who don't have a pension plan today? Where do you start putting together the income plan for them? It's got to be a little bit more difficult to know if that reliable income is going to be there. Eric, how do you start with income?
Yeah, we really start by looking at the whole picture and what their needs are, what your monthly goal is from your income sources. So it just depends on what you need and what your lifestyle looks like. And from there, we'll evaluate different types of annuities and different products and structures to where we can put together a portfolio that encompasses their risk tolerance and income needs.
All right. Well, what I'd like to do is maybe do a client case study, if you don't mind, when we get back. We could talk about this in theory like professors all we want to. Let's talk about somebody who's come into the office that you've actually helped put together an income plan. Folks, if you call the phone number down on the screen right here, we'll get you started on your own retirement income plan from the team at the LS Financial Group. And let's talk safe money. Call the phone number you see down here. Make sure that you come back. We're going to do a client case study, show you how we create income in retirement that you can't run out of. More with Len Strickler and Eric Brown right after this.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter, the one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler. Also joining us from his firm today is Eric Brown, financial advisor. I am your host, Spike Spangle. And today we're talking about how you create that income stream in retirement. And with the new addition to the LS Financial Group, having the LSF Capital Group, the asset management, the money management part of it, I'm really interested about how we create the income stream. But let's talk about people. Who's come by your office recently to create an income stream?
Yeah, this is a real good example of this scenario. Len, myself, and Art met with a client of ours now who had relocated from the Midwest up there where it's real cold, and he wanted to move back to South Florida, move down here to where it's a warm retirement, right? So we met with this fellow who came down about 6 months prior to meeting, and really with Doug, the main story with him is it's a sad story. Is his wife had passed away, his wife of about 30 years. Oh, no. And so this really prompted his early retirement, where he wanted something new, a new change of pace, and a new lifestyle, right? So
Wow.
given that, he ended up moving over to our neck of the woods here in South Florida, and ended up getting connected with me and Len that way.
Yeah, you know, we always wonder sometimes, what is the life event that makes somebody pick up the phone and go, you know, I want to make a change. I want to see how I can retire, when I can retire. It's such a shame, though, he wasn't able to do it with his spouse of 30 years. So how old was he?
So Doug is 58. 58.
He isn't.
Yeah, so he's retiring early.
Oh, okay. So if you don't mind me asking, just a ballpark, what kind of savings did he have?
Yeah, so he did a real good job accumulating. He had about $2 million in his own 401k, and then his wife also had a sizable 401k. So overall assets was somewhere between $2.5 to $3 million.
Right,
Did well for himself, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did really well. At a young age.
I was going to say, at 58, but now he's wanting to live.
Right, and this
enjoy
kind
that
of
life.
goes back to what we were talking about with pensions, right? So Doug didn't have a pension because of his work. He was working in sales and had a couple different jobs along the years, and didn't have that set pension stream. Okay, so now, you know, he realizes he wants to retire a little bit earlier, and he has a significant amount saved to where he can really put together a plan for it.
Right. Now, is he jumping completely into retirement at 58? Because there's a couple of things. You can't go into your 401ks without taxes and penalties. How'd you start that?
Yeah, so with this case, it actually worked out to where he's retiring after that 59.5 age. He plans to work for about 2 more years. He's comfortable. He's making a good income to where it's, why not, you know, take advantage of working remote here in South Florida. You can golf on your off days. And so he has 2 years still. And so really the structure with Doug was to come up with an investment plan that gets his assets in the right position for when he retires.
Okay. Now, Len, as I'm sitting here thinking about this, 58, that's pretty young. What kind of calculations, what kind of things did you run to see if this fella is going to run out of money? 58, he could be retired into his 80s, into his 90s. That's quite a long time.
Yeah, he may be in the workforce. We say this quite often, right? You may be in retirement as long as you were in the workforce, right? So you're right. One of the things we do is we actually, one of the biggest concerns for most retirees in all the surveys is, will my money go the distance, all right? Longevity, okay? We got to figure out, is the money going to go? And that's what Doug really wanted to know. We do a couple things. We have a tool called the Income Analyzer, and we're able to take the income that he has, everything that he has coming in, whether it's from real estate investments, you know, the pension, whatever he's got, 401ks, and then what we do is we take into account inflation, which we have to today, as you can imagine, right? We take taxes. I mean, how many of you out there think taxes are going to go down? Any hands out there? I don't think so. Taxes are going to probably go up, folks, and we think they may double. So we got to take those things into account. So what the master chef, my partner, Art Athanas, we call him the financial master chef, right?
Yes, want to keep that. I want to make sure people don't think
we're
it's
not a cooking show. But now with Eric and Art working together, we're able to take and put that through what we call our income analyzer. And we end up taking all those things into account. And then at the end, we see if there's any gaps. And if there are gaps there, we're going to be able to either shift some things around or be able to fill those gaps in some other ways that may, you know, happen to do with the managed money side of the business. Could be annuities, could be life insurance. There's a number of tools that we can put. Could be Roth conversions. Another tool that we have that we can talk to our clients about.
Eric, this income analyzer, have you been using this as a tool as well? So this is something we applied here to Doug?
Yeah, of course. And in this case, we're really bridging that gap between 58 to 60, right, to where he's still accumulating, he's still earning a wage, right? But then at age 60, that's going away. And then until he takes Social Security, he doesn't have too much income.
You just hit on my next question. Are you talking to this fellow about then turning on your Social Security at 62? This is a whole new can of worms right now. I don't think we're going to have enough time even in this show, but are we taking his Social Security early? You're going to wait for full retirement age? Which are we pulling from first, the assets or Social Security?
Sure. Well, Social Security can be very complex, as you know, and with his spouse as well. You know, you have to look into the inherited aspect of it as well, where you have 2 different socials and possibly, you know, take the higher of the 2. However, in this case, we're really advised Doug to take when the need arises, right? So when he gets to a point where he has a specific amount of income that he needs every year and needs to hit a specific target, and if you're drawing too much out of your portfolio, that can be detrimental to the returns, right? So we advise to start Social Security whenever that event takes place, to where you need the income and don't want to really kill those assets.
Right. And Len, if you don't mind me asking, we've talked about it a little bit before, but update on Social Security. Is it looking better?
It's not looking better, Spike. We, as you know, we're a member of the NSSA, the National Social Security Association. And with that particular organization, two gentlemen started it, a gentleman named Jim Blair. He worked 38 years at the for Social Security, took all the last 10 years he took all the hard cases, and then a CPA named Mark Klein. And so these two gentlemen have formed this organization. We're a member of it, and we have access to these folks. Now, the trust fund, they just came back in the summer, late summer, from the big meeting. And unfortunately, not to scare people to death out here, but by 2034, folks, Social Security trust funds are going to be out of money. So when you think about that, again, here's another reason we need to start to think about, you know, building our own pension plan. With what other resources? How else can we do this? Because, folks, we're talking about we got a, $33 trillion debt in this country right now, Spike.
And with the possibility of retirees having to take a 25% reduction on Social Security, and I dare say even more. I'm really worried about it myself. Yeah. It's one of the biggest alarm bells that I'm not sure if America is hearing right now, that Social Security could be depleted as soon as 8 or 9 years. That's a reduction for you. So what I'd like to talk about for our audience before we go out to this message is your income analyzer. Folks, you can get your own income analyzer by calling the phone number right here, scheduling an appointment, coming on in. What we want to do is take a look at the assets you have you turned on Social Security or not, and to see what your options are to make sure that you don't run out of money in retirement, not just not run out of money, but make sure that you also have increases to give yourself raises over time to fight the effects of inflation and taxes. So for you to get your own complimentary, no-cost income analyzer, call the phone number you see right here, 844-299-0355. When we get back with Eric and Len and myself, we're going to talk about what happened to Americans last year who took 20% losses in their accounts, and is it possible to make it back up? More Let's Talk Safe Money right after this.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you. You can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler, Eric Brown. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. Today we're talking about how you do build income in retirement. Eric Brown, a nice, wonderful addition. Not that I don't mind talking to you all the time, Len, but it's great to have one of your new financial advisors here on the show joining us. He's also joined us on the radio show, which is great. So I will ask you point blank then, what are some of the other variables that we need to worry about when it comes to eroding away at our income stream in retirement?
Yeah, we briefly mentioned inflation earlier, and obviously in today's day and age, that's a huge concern. In fact, we see that as the #1 issue when we meet with folks these days. Is they talk about inflation and how do I protect myself? How do I have income that's shielded from it? So I think talking about this going back to Doug, I think that's a good case to look at for this. When he came in and met with us regarding his 401ks and tax-deferred accounts, we were able to set him up with a pension-like fixed index annuity. The way this annuity works is it has an 8% step-up to your income base. So what that means is every year, until you start the income, that base is growing by 8%, which
sounds a lot like Social Security, like waiting out. But it's taking your own money and creating your own pension
Your own
plan.
pension, that's exactly right.
But it's called a what, Len? What do we call this?
It's it's a guaranteed lifetime income.
Okay, guaranteed lifetime, but it's an annuity.
Oh, it's definitely an annuity. It's definitely an
Right.
annuity.
So now, is this in all of the kinds of annuity products that are out there? Because you've said before, there's variable, there's different types.
All different types, and they're all structured differently. So the key with this case is structuring it to where if you need income, to use the income rider. Right. In other cases, sometimes people are more, focused on asset accumulation and growth and longevity. Right. And of course, Doug is in the same boat, but we really needed a specific annuity to really shell off that income portion. So if you look at it, that's phase one.
Then, we take what you have in his savings, and if he turns on the income, even if he runs out of the cash value, they actually don't stop paying him.
That's correct. That's what's again, every design's different. It's not for everybody. Okay. Now, if you come in and tell us that you need to leave a legacy, right, that you want money to go, to your grandkids or whatever, well, this may not be the best design for you, because you have to understand that when you have this 8% step up, like Eric said, that money is you're going to get that money no matter what. You'll get it if you live to 120, you're going to get that check. But remember that you're taking that money out to where in 12 to maybe 15 years, there's no more money left. All right. But you're still going to get that check. So we have to make sure, again, that the proper design for the proper goals of the client is, and that's part of what we are all about.
Right, right. And again, the name of the show, the Let's Talk Safe Money, he said one of the most important things, right now, he didn't say the most, was inflation. But I know that you worry about market volatility. And there's a lot of folks, in fact, clients, not your clients necessarily, who lost 20% last year in the markets.
Right. Well, yeah, that's right. Well, with the clients that I've been working with, right, until we've kind of brought Eric along here, with the fixed index annuities, fixed annuities, I haven't had a client come in and complain about anything. Because remember, with a fixed index annuity, the way they work is the only way you can go, folks, is either up or sideways. Up or sideways. You're never going to lose your principal. You don't give back any gains. It's a beautiful thing, again, for the right design, for the right client.
And for the right allocation.
And for the right allocation, that's correct.
Yeah, I think it's so key to have an allocation that's in this principal protection component, right, to where the assets are safe. Like he said, you either go sideways or up, but then it's about diversifying and having a properly structured portfolio that has opportunity for gains and growth in the market. And I think, coming to an asset allocation that reaches the right blend is what we look to do with every person.
And what we teach, right, Eric, is that, folks, we're not saying, obviously we're not against the market because we've hired Eric, but here's the thing. There's a portion of your money that we want to make sure safe. You cannot afford to lose money, folks, in retirement. You just can't. In 2008, it took people 7 to 8 years just to get back even, okay? Crying out loud, I got clients who won't even buy green bananas, okay? So I'm just saying. So my point is, you've got to make sure, folks, that you've got this thing. If you're 60 years old, we say that you should have 60% of that money in a safe place where you cannot lose that principal. If you're 70, obviously, well, obviously you need to be safer. But the rest of that, right, I had a book that I collaborated with called Paychecks and Playchecks with Tom Higna, and that's what we talked about. Let's get that paycheck first, that floor covered, right, and then you can go and have your playcheck.
Eric, though, I know that you're taking a lot of new phone calls from folks who aren't necessarily clients yet, families, households. How do you talk about the folks who did take that 20% loss last year when both the stock market and the bond market went down simultaneously? Yeah, we meet with people every day that are in that category. And this reminds me of a woman I met with last week named Clara. She was invested primarily in 3 different stocks. That's it. Her whole retirement account and other portfolio was invested in these stocks and I think one mutual fund. And they were very taking on a lot of risk. They weren't sheltered. They didn't have a lot of... do you mind me asking, how old was Clara? So this is the
sad part about the story is she was 70 years old and in a point where she's at retirement already, and you need to really shift your risk tolerance as you get to that age. So the issue with that being is the time, right? So you mentioned it earlier, is she doesn't have as long of a runway to make up for those losses. And when you're withdrawing funds from your portfolio and taking income, it can be really detrimental to the long-term effect.
First of all, my heart goes out to her. Second of all, were these company stocks? What was her affinity towards these 3 individual stocks?
I think she just had them for a long time and didn't really
saw the appreciation,
right?
And saw the large growth.
Exactly.
In it, yeah. Did she realize at that how much risk she was in, or did she pick up the phone and say, "I don't know why I lost 20 to 30%. You know, what happened? I didn't do anything different."
Yeah, I think she realized it more because she's at a point where she doesn't have the runway anymore. Say 10 years ago, a lot of people can look at that and say, it'll come back. I'll have some time to recover. So I think it's being at this age that really prompted her to react so harshly to it, which is fair.
If we're talking about the dentist, if we're talking about our doctor, we know that they like us to come in once a year or so. How often should we also review the income plan, Len?
Well, you know, it's interesting. We always would say that we want you to come in for an annual checkup, okay? But now, the way things have gone, the market's moving so fast, it's so volatile, everything, you know, I mean, a lot of things going on right now, right? We got the world stage, we got, you know, all kind of things happening right now. And we believe now, and we're seeing clients that really want it now, maybe 6 months, even sometimes quarterly. We like to do a quarterly review. Things change very fast in our lives today.
And what are the big changes that you're adding to the firm? Not so much changing. You've always done a written financial plan, but with the asset management, putting together the complete holistic financial plan, that financial plan, though, that's not set in stone. We amend that and change that along the way, correct?
Yeah, it's a good point. You know, it's a living, breathing, moving document. And that's why it's so important to have those reviews. You know, I mean, Eric right now is going back to a lot of our clients in the past and just, you know, getting on the phone and calling them and saying, hey, you know, let's go ahead. Here, we can help you with this now. Here's a service we didn't have in the past, right? And there's some ways that we may be able to help you get a little bit more gas, a little bit more out of this this portfolio. All
right. Well, Eric, get prepared for your phone to start ringing as well. Thank you for joining us on your first show here. Well done. Folks, if you'd like your own written financial plan, it is complimentary to the viewers of our program, but you need to call the phone number you see right here down at the bottom of the screen. Thank you so much for watching Let's Talk Safe Money. We'll be back next week.